Hey, welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Gear, you guys. So glad you can join me once again. Today I'm going to be talking about the final reveal. Yep, the guitar, the red custom Telecaster is finally done. I promised you guys I'd give you a once over once it was completed. So here it is. Today we're going to be looking at this guitar, and I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of my, tips that I've learned through the process today. In case you're planning on doing the same type of build or staining your own guitar, I want to share a couple of things with you. But first, I wanted you to hear what the guitar sounds like. So I'm going to be playing the guitar with a backing track, and I'm going to be playing it through a Fender Supersonic 22. Nothing crazy. It's just going to be kind of a spontaneous playthrough. And I'll be flipping through some of the pickups. I'll be playing some clean tones as well as some overdriven tones, just so you can hear what the guitar has to offer. So let's listen to that first. So there you go, you guys. The guitar is basically a hybrid between a Telecaster and I'd say somewhere between the tones you can get with a Les Paul because of the humbuckers. Now these humbuckers are Tonerider Alnico 2 humbuckers, and they're pretty good. They're not extremely expensive. I didn't want to spend too much money on the build. I had these pickups lying around, so I figured I'd use them since they weren't in any guitar at the time. And I'm pretty happy with the way they sound. I think the bridge sounds really good. The neck pickup, to me, I'm very peculiar about the neck pickups, and I've mentioned this many times in my other videos. I do like neck pickups that have a little bit more high frequencies, and this one's on the verge. You know, it's good. I'm probably gonna try to swap out the magnet at some point and maybe put in something else other than an Alnico 2 just to hear how it sounds. Maybe I can get a little bit more highs. I have a couple of magnets lying around, and eventually I'll probably end up doing that. Now, one thing I wanted to say, if you guys are considering making a guitar like this, and if you're extremely picky and you want a guitar to be perfectly flawless, I would say don't finish the guitar yourself unless you have the proper equipment and the patience, the time, because it does take a long time. And even at that, you know, there's always going to be minor defects here and there. It's never going to be perfect. So if you're really picky and anal, maybe it's better that you buy a body that's already finished and possibly made or finished in poly instead of lacquer. The reason I say that is because lacquer is a very, very thin, very delicate, and it wears. Lacquer is not like polyurethane. Polyurethane is like dipping a guitar in a vat of plastic. You get a really thick, durable coat, and it's great because it is durable. But if you want something that wears nicely over time and will get that aged look, then lacquer is the way to go. But of course, it's very delicate. I dropped an Allen key when I was making some adjustments, and it dinged the finish, and I was a little bit miffed at that. But hey, you know, the guitars are made to be played, and when they get worn in, they look good. You know, like they're like a pair of used jeans. They become very comfortable, very unique, and it becomes your own. You know, you put the wear in, and it's nice to see that the guitar is not a museum piece that's under glass. The thing that I have to say about this body, really good quality. I mentioned it in my other videos, and I mentioned where I got it. I bought it on eBay. Good quality body. One thing I have to mention though, when you do purchase a body, if you're planning on building this type of project, is make sure that the body will fit what you're trying to do, because more often than not, things will not line up, holes will not be drilled, or maybe missing. In this case, I had to drill a pilot hole from the bottom of the bridge to the control cavity because I wasn't able to pass a ground wire because it wasn't drilled. So I had to buy a drill bit, and I had to do that myself, and it's a little bit more time consuming and delicate, and you know, you risk making some mistakes if you're not used to doing that kind of thing. So if you're not comfortable with it, then maybe you go the pre-finished ready to go route. Now the guitar turned out quite nice. The neck also, which I also stained in a vintage lacquer stain. I used some Stumac stains, and it turned out quite nice. The neck itself wasn't stained this way when I got it. It was pretty much just raw. The neck I'm very happy with. It's a 10-inch radius rosewood fretboard with real mother of pearl inlays, which give it more of a almost like a custom shop kind of look to it. Something quite different than the usual plastic inlays, which I like a lot. The frets are medium frets. They were finished quite well. I didn't have to level the frets or anything like that. The edges were nicely rounded over. The nut is bone, and to be honest with you, I purchased another neck recently from a eBay seller that shall remain nameless, that costed me way more than this one, and this one is actually nicer. Even the truss rod little finish material that they put in there, in most cases when you buy an aftermarket guitar neck, it's usually plastic. In this case, it's wood. Really good quality, no complaints. I'd buy another one again. Of course, the standard skunk stripe, and what I really liked is the fact that the body also mimics the skunk stripe all the way down. So it's kind of a nice feature to have there. I had to buy and install the ferrules on the guitar body, and that's another thing. You know, when you're building a guitar from parts, things like ferrules and stuff, it's tricky to match up. You know, you could order the wrong size, or you know, it might not be exactly what you're looking for, or the body might not be drilled exactly for standard ferrules, say from Fender or something like that. So you might have to try it out before you find the right ones. A little bit more patience involved, but it really works out at the end. So as I mentioned, the pickups are from Tonerider. The bridge is a Goto bridge, very good quality. I think it's nice because it does have a lot of mass to it. It's well made, it's rounded, very comfortable, nothing like jams into your palm while you're playing it. It's a standard hardtail bridge, and it fit the body perfectly. What I liked about this eBay seller is he also mentioned exactly which bridge would fit the holes, so there was no guesswork involved. I'm assuming you could probably put in other types of bridges, but this one worked perfectly and it's a good quality bridge, so I went with that. As far as the electronics go, there's nothing really fancy about that. It's a 3-way toggle, a typical Telecaster toggle switch, volume, tone with an orange drop capacitor in there. There's no fancy push-pull pots or anything like that. It's pretty much standard. And I did go with locking tuners because I do like the fact that I can pull out the strings easier and install them quicker. So I like to go with locking tuners when I can. Now these tuners are not as high end as the last build I made. They're kind of budget locking tuners, and I wanted to give them a try just to see how good or how bad they were. I bought them on eBay as well, and they turned out to be pretty good. The only difference between, let's say, this one and the one I put on another one of my Strats is that if you buy the Fender branded locking tuners, what Fender does is they take the 3 thick strings and the posts on those are a little bit higher, and then the 3 thinner strings are a little bit lower on the posts, so that you get the appropriate string break angle, and you don't have any issues with the nut. In this case, I didn't have that, but I just installed 2 string trees there to make sure that I had good contact with the bone nut that came with the neck, and everything's fine. Everything works good. So I'm really happy with that. I mean, overall, guys, the guitar turned out really well. The flame on the top is showing up really nice. I tinted these with leather stains, and it took red, some yellow, and some black, and I had to sort of stain and sand back and stain and sand back till I got the appropriate finish on the top that I was looking for. You can check out my other videos for that. And then of course there's the lacquering process, and I think I used about 3 bottles of spray lacquer by the time I was done on this. And then of course a lot of buffing and hand buffing and polishing and whatnot that goes into it. But at the end of it, man, I'm really happy with the final results. The guitar looks and to me sounds very good. I don't have any complaints. I would do it again if I had the time, but for now, this is it. I have this and my Olympic white Telecaster are my most recent builds, and with that I think I have a pretty good guitar collection, so I don't really see myself getting anything along the same lines as these two anytime soon. It might be something else though. But I wanted to share this with you so that you guys can get some inspiration if you're thinking about doing the same. In the meantime, guys, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Addicted to Gear. I'm really happy with all your comments, and please continue to subscribe if you haven't already done so. There's going to be more great stuff coming your way. In the meantime, guys, don't forget, keep on rocking, and just enjoy the gear that you pick up. It's really a blast, and it's really a lot of fun to be able to put together stuff like this guitar. So don't be afraid, try it yourself. I'm sure you're going to have a great time. Stay tuned for more.